Update: I exposed my fiancé and sister's betrayal at the family gathering. Original post: I have reached the edge of what I can bear. I am 28 and have been with my fiancé for just over 3 years. We live together with my 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. 3 weeks ago, I found out I am pregnant again. At first, I was overjoyed, naively thinking we were finally creating the stable family I'd always wanted. But he grew distant the very next day. He ignored my excitement, started coming home late, and kept his phone glued to him at all times. I began noticing strange calls and those discreet social media notifications that vanished too quickly. My gut told me to investigate. I almost wish I hadn't. He has been secretly hooking up with my older sister behind my back. She was someone I always tolerated, even though she drags drama wherever she goes. She would hug me when relatives were around, pretend to be the supportive older sibling, then turn around and badmouth me to her friends. I never imagined she would crawl into my life this deeply. It felt like a slap in the face to read their messages mocking me for not noticing. He told her about the pregnancy before being honest with me about his doubts, and they joked about how stressed I would be raising another child. My sister bragged that our entire family thinks she is the more interesting and popular sibling, while I am just a quiet one who apparently deserves this. I don't know if they are still meeting in secret or if they just enjoy hurting me. My fiancé denies everything whenever I confront him, says I am hormonal, that my imagination is running wild. My sister keeps messaging me telling me to keep my mouth shut and stop being dramatic. I am done hiding my anger. My mother wants me to talk it out calmly, but how do I fix something so broken that I can barely breathe? My fiancé thinks I'll just accept this. He is counting on me being too shy or too pregnant to do anything. Tomorrow, I plan to blow this up in front of the entire family. We are supposed to have a casual get-together at our parents' house, ironically to celebrate my pregnancy announcement. I will gather my phone logs, screenshots, and all the humiliating texts they sent each other. Once all the relatives have settled in, I will put everything on display. No more secrets. I might burn everything in the process. I might lose any chance of a pleasant co-parenting scenario, but I feel like I have no other way to reclaim my dignity. I have been crying non-stop for days. My nerves are shot, and all I get from my fiancé is either the silent treatment or insults. My sister taunts me and acts like I am worthless. I see no reason to protect them anymore. I don't know what happens next. Maybe they will run off together. Maybe they will lie or twist things around to make me look insane. My fiancé hasn't contributed much financially, so I worry about affording my daughter and this potential new baby on my own. Yet, I cannot pretend everything is normal. I have to protect whatever self-respect I have left. I am going to set my entire world on fire tomorrow. Part of me feels terrified. The other part is numb. Regardless, I am done letting them tiptoe around my heart. If they wanted my silence, they should have hidden their betrayal better. Let everyone see exactly who they are. That is all I have left. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Good luck. With a sister like that, you don't need any enemies. You can make any choice you like regarding the pregnancy, but before you have a huge announcement, please consider this. You will be single parenting again and all that entails, but this time with a 4-year-old too. The father may decide to be with your sister, and she could become the stepmother to your new baby. She may go out of her way to make this happen because she enjoys hurting you. This means the child could be used as a weapon. Money, support, and stability for your first child need to come before any potential future child. My comments are really about your welfare and the welfare of the child you currently have. You absolutely should not stay with this man, and I would advise to terminate this pregnancy due to the reasons above. But that is your choice, and we've all given our advice. I wish you all the best with your choices. My daughter was born when I was 21, and I raised her as a single parent after a similar situation. She's 21 herself this year, and it's the same advice I would give her. Burn him to the ground, honey, in front of everyone. Stand up, say you have a major announcement, and ask for quiet. Then say, after 3 years with fiancé, I am pregnant with my fiancé's child. Sorry to add that he and my sister have been hooking up in recent weeks, so it's not great news I would have preferred. Now I will turn this announcement over to my sister so she can explain the great sex she's enjoying with him. Please make a PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides or whatever. You're going to want everybody to get a real good view of all the information you've gathered. May I also suggest sharing a link to the document with reading rights only in case it gets shut down before you finish. That way, everyone can peruse the presentation at their leisure. Now for the update. I'm still reeling from what happened. After writing my last post, I spent hours debating whether I should really go through with exposing them at the family gathering. A part of me was scared I would turn my whole life upside down forever. But I knew I couldn't keep letting them walk all over me while pretending everything was fine. I called my mom beforehand to let her know I was breaking up with him and to prepare her. When I arrived at my parents' house, everyone was already there, including my ex-fiancé and my sister. My mother tried to pull me aside, whispering that we should talk first. I stayed calm, walked straight into the living room where everyone was sitting, and asked them to listen. They looked confused. My sister immediately rolled her eyes, and my fiancé mumbled something, probably hoping I would stay silent. I started reading the most shocking parts of the messages I found between the two of them. They mocked me, joked about me not noticing anything, and said I deserved this. I had timestamps proving he was sneaking around with my own sister while I was at home with my daughter. My sister stood up and accused me of lying, her voice defensive and low-pitched. But I just kept reading. The messages spoke for themselves. I revealed how he told her about my pregnancy before even discussing it with me, and how they laughed about me being stressed raising another child. My fiancé tried to dismiss me, claiming I was overreacting and misinterpreting the situation because of my emotional, pregnant state. He even blamed my mental health. By then, he stormed out of the room and my sister started crying. My dad stared at the floor, silent, while my mother looked mortified. Finally, my sister snapped and stormed out, yelling that I was a dramatic liar who blew everything out of proportion. Now the fallout begins. My ex-fiancé has been texting me nonstop. He blames me for humiliating him. He shows zero genuine remorse. He's just mad that I exposed him. My sister calls me horrendous names, says I ruined her image, and refuses to take responsibility. She insists I'm making up drama. Honestly, I don't even know if they're still seeing each other or blaming each other for being caught. Either way, their secret is out, and that is all I wanted. I am now talking to a lawyer because this man barely contributed financially before. I have to protect my daughter and ensure I never have a child with him. The thought of raising 2 kids alone is terrifying. I feel numb and heartbroken at times, but I also feel a strange sense of relief. At least everyone knows the truth now. I exposed everything the day in the living room, but I am no longer being trampled on in silence. My sister and ex-fiancé can no longer laugh behind my back. Yes, things will probably get messy. They might lie to other relatives, people we mutually know, or twist the story. But I am glad I refused to keep quiet. All I can do now is focus on the positive, talk to my lawyer, and move forward. Are you still early enough and/or in a safe place to think about abortion? I only ask because you are already stressed at the idea of being a single mom of 2, and that you'll be forever tied to the ex, who will more than likely take the kid around your sister and poison them against you. Not that it's an easy decision, but it might be the best one to take for your mental health and ability to cut ties quickly. And you can just tell everybody you had a miscarriage due to the stress they put you under. The last thing Opie needs is for the sister to find out she's pregnant too. Then the kids will be siblings/cousins. That would make for great family gatherings. Next story. My husband passed away and his ex-girlfriend wants me to adopt their kids. This is a long story, but I need to share because I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Everyone in my life has an opinion, some very strong opinions, and I just want a place to vent and get some unbiased perspectives. My husband died 1 week before Thanksgiving. We were unofficially separated at a time. We were not living together. I still loved him, but I had chosen to distance myself due to his drug addiction, in hopes that he would seek treatment and get clean. He was seeking help, but it wasn't enough, and he overdosed. He had struggled with it when he was younger, college age, but he got clean and stayed clean for many years. He had a girlfriend back then who also became addicted, and they had 2 kids. Ultimately, he got clean, got a good job, had his life in order, and was awarded custody of their 2 kids. I actually knew him back in elementary and middle school, but we lost touch when we attended different high schools. We didn't meet again until after that first instance of addiction and recovery. He had been clean for a few years when we met. His kids were 5 and 3 then, now they're 10 and 8. Their mom had supervised visitation. I don't have any biological children of my own. He passed away and I'm devastated. I can't really accept it yet, but I feel especially crushed for his children. They haven't had an easy time over the past year as he dealt with his problems, and now they've suffered the ultimate loss. I've remained in their lives even while we were separated and not living together. He moved back in with his parents and took his girls with him, but I still visited them often and stayed involved in all aspects of their lives. I never called myself their mom, but I essentially was their mom on a day-to-day basis. I did everything a mom would do. Their mom was recently arrested on burglary-related charges and is now in prison. This happened after he died. I thought she was doing better. She attended his memorial and seemed more together than she had in the past. She wrote me a very heartbreaking and heartfelt letter asking me to adopt her daughters. She basically admitted that she doesn't know if she'll ever overcome her addiction and that she doesn't want the girls to live with relatives on either side. She wants them to stay with me because it's what they know and she feels they're safe. She said the girls asked if they could come live with me and referred to my house, our former family home, as home. I wasn't expecting that at all. She hadn't been particularly fond of me before. For years, she talked about how she was going to get clean for her girls and get custody of them again. She had some good moments, but it never stuck. I feel like the world's worst person for not immediately saying yes. I haven't responded to her yet. I feel like the most evil person for not immediately agreeing. I love those girls. I lived with them as essentially their mom for several years. I've worried about them every single day. Yet, why do I find myself thinking, do I really want to do this? I also don't know if it's even possible or what kind of fight it would be. I don't think his parents will agree easily. I got along with his parents just fine, but they're big on family, and they're absolutely destroyed by his death. I can't imagine they'd let the girls go without a fight. I can't help but wonder what kind of lifelong mess I'd be getting myself into if I pursued this. Dealing with her, both sides of the girls' extended family, and the trauma the girls will likely carry because of their parents. I don't know if I'm strong enough to handle it all, and it makes me feel like a horrible human being. Now for the top advice. Talk to the grandparents privately, not with the girls around. Share the mother's letter. They're probably the girls' legal guardians. You don't have to adopt if you don't want to, but you could continue to be present in their lives to provide additional stability. However, if you want to adopt them and the grandparents are supportive, it shouldn't be hard to accomplish. The mom would have to terminate her parental rights, which might not be an issue with her being in prison, and the grandparents could willingly allow you to adopt. The rest is legal paperwork. The cost to complete it will be minimal compared to regular agency adoptions and similar processes. You just need to decide if you want to do this and whether you can handle it. You also need the grandparents to agree. So talk to them, but know what you are willing to do before that conversation. Let the mom know your decision as well. She could always be allowed to see the girls in the future if it would be safe to do so. A responsible person should spend some time thinking about this before answering. You are not a terrible person for needing to think through the logistics and carefully consider the impact on your life. Keep doing so until you arrive at the decision, and then commit to whatever you decide and don't look back. I say don't look back because whatever you decide will not be on a whim. You're going about this the right way. Trust yourself. Last story. I have survivor's guilt. 7 years ago, my then husband asked for a divorce. We were in our early 20s and had an infant daughter. I hadn't been happy for about 6 months, and we spent a lot of time talking about what needed to improve on his end to stay together. But one morning, He woke up and just asked for a divorce. I agreed and started logistically figuring things out. As soon as I agreed, it was like a switch flipped. He didn't mean it, and suddenly I was the bad person for moving forward with it. He began stalking me and my family, stopped paying all bills, and even took out credit cards in my name, trying to destroy me. I genuinely feared for my life, but I fought hard to keep myself and my daughter safe. Long story short, there were multiple DV instances, police involvement, protection orders for myself and my daughter, the whole 9 yards. And then he unalived himself. It was like a wave of relief. We were finally safe. Of course, it was awful, but it also felt like my fight or flight mode could turn off for a second. It's hard to explain. Now, 7 years later, anytime I see a murder-suicide story or a family side story, I have this horrible survivor's guilt. That could have been me. That could have been us. But I made it out. Why did these women and/or children? It's so unfair. It sounds like he had an intense mental health issue. If you were married in your early 20s, you likely didn't have the capability to fully comprehend the nuances of having a relationship with someone capable of that kind of instability. Do you have any other feelings now that it's well in your past? I have always felt mad. I've never been able to get to the sympathy stage. He made my life hell and then left our child with a lifetime of trauma. You don't have to. Give yourself permission to not feel sympathy if you never get there. Who says you have to? He certainly doesn't need sympathy. He's gone. However, you should work on moving past the anger and finding gratitude that he didn't take you or your daughter with him. Over time, the anger may lessen naturally because it often does. If you were my friend or relative, I'd feel relieved that this dangerous threat was removed from your life. That said, it's important not to let your daughter know you're relieved he's gone. She's already facing life without her dad, compounded by the stigma of suicide. With a wonderful mom like you, and help of a good psychologist who specializes in children coping with a parent's suicide, there's no reason you both can't have a rewarding and fulfilling life filled with joy and great relationships. Best of luck to you both. You deserve to be happy and safe. Thank you. I feel like so many people are sympathetic to suicide, and I'm just not. Maybe one day.